Okay, so let's get through this as quickly as we can. I'm going to be doing the full version of question 2 of CAS 2017 exam 5 fall sitting. All right, this is the question here. A second. All right, so we have rate changes July of 2013, October 2015 and 16. We have the earned premium in 2014 and 15 and 16. We have the loss adjustment expense of 40 million. We have the earned premium for 2016 is 22 million. And you can just go ahead and read the whole problem. I'm just going to go ahead and walk you through it. Somewhat complicated. In fact, I wouldn't even say somewhat. It's very complicated. But at the same time, if you break it down, it really is not going to be that bad. At least I hope not. So here we go. All right, so the first thing, I did another video where I foundationally explained this parallelogram sort of thing, but basically this is just a tool that we use to actually calculate and keep track of time. So this is the rate change of 2013, and we're able to get these these segmented areas so that we can actually calculate it. So again, if you have questions with this and what I'm actually doing here, you can go and look at another video. So looking at calendar year 2014, which is the first year that we're going to look at, we have this portion. This is going to be a half of a year and a half a year. So going over here with the first rate, it's going to be equal to the area of a triangle, which is 0.5 times base times height. And this is simply going to be 1 minus this. Oops. Equals 1 minus this. And so our average rate level is simply going to be equal to this times this, which is a weighted average. Okay, 1.04, that looks good. For the second fiscal year, 2015, we have this we just have this one little thing. This is October 1st of 2015, so this is going to be a quarter of a year, so the area of the triangle is going to be equal to 0.5, 1/2 base times height, which is 0.25, times the base, which is 0.25. So that's our rate, our weight. Looking at this again, the portion that we're looking at this segment here is actually going to be 1.05 times 1.02. And I explained that in the other video. If you have any questions, please review. And this is simply going to be 1 minus that for the weight, and this is simply going to be the 1.05, and then again we're going to have a weighted average of this times this plus this times this. 1.05, that looks good. And moving to the last year, if we look at our calendar here, we actually have 3 portions looking at 2016. We have this triangle here. Oops. That triangle, this triangle here. That's terrible. And then we have this other shape in the middle, and we're not going to deal with that. We're going to just do a 1 minus factor. So again, looking at this triangle, this is going to be 0.75 because this is October 1st. So that's going to represent 3/4 of the year. So this is going to be equal to 1/2 base, which is 0.75 times the height. The rate here is going to be 1.05. All right, 1.05. Then this is going to be the 4% decrease. So this is going to be let me do it this way, equals 1.05 times 1.02 times 0.96. That's going to be the rate. And then this is going to be equal to 1/2 base, which is 0.25, times the height, which is 0.25. And then this is simply going to be 1 minus, keep doing that. It's going to be equal to 1 minus this value minus this value. And then the rate that we're looking for is the 0.02%, which is equal to 1.05 times 1.02. That's the 5% increase and the 2% decrease. And then we have a weighted average for all of this. And we have 1.6. Okay, so I went ahead and skipped and I prepared this extra sheet This number, this 15 million, it comes from the problem. So does this 18 million, so does this 22. These three values here are simply drawn in directly from this previous sheet. There's your 1.06375, and there's that number there. All right. So just so you keep in mind what we're actually getting to. So this next column is 1.05 times 1.05. Actually, this should be 1.02 times 0.96. This represents the current rate, which is the 5%, and then the rate changes, the rate adjustments throughout the problem. And this is going to be a constant number. I added it so you can look at the columns. Now this column here is a little bit intricate. So to do an on leveling factor, what we need to actually do, this is actually calculating the average rate for that year, and this is the current rate. And so to get the on level rate is when we take this rate and this number and divide it by that number. So if you look at the highlighted cells, we get the current rate, which is this column right here, 1.02816, and we divide it by the average rate for that calendar year. Okay. The next thing we have to look is this trend factor. Now, just so you understand exactly what this is, from the problem it says we had a 2% trend. And so what we need to do, I want to explain this number here, this 4.25. The original problem, like I said, is, let's go back and look. The original problem says right here that we have a selected annual trend of 2%, right? So that 2% trend has to carry forward. Now, it's very important for this problem. You need to recognize that the 2% trend is actually a value that is relevant for when the policy is written and when the policy is actually earned. And it's a very key concept that I think a lot of times we get mixed up with. So the way we're going to look at this is we're going from October of we're going from July of 14, which is the beginning of the year which is when the first policy is actually written. And then we need to go forward to the end of the period that we're examining, which is going to be the 2017 year. So that'll take us from January 1 to January 1 of 2016 all the way to, I'm misspeaking. The rate is going to be October 2017, and we're going to October 2018, and the policy year is going to be actually written in the middle of that period, which is going to be April, I think. But that's not really relevant. Bottom line is we're going from July of 2014 all the way to October 1st of 2018, and that's 4.25 years. All right, hopefully that makes sense. Then this value is simply going to be multiplying all of these terms. So we have the 15 million times the trend factor and then times the on leveling factor. So basically we have this $15 million amount based upon all the rate assumptions is actually worth 16.07 or 16 million in 2018 terms. Sum them up, and then we get 57,091,000, blah, blah, blah. This number right here is actually the answer to question one. Part one, rather. Part two is going to be just this very formulaic. We have this loss ratio, which is simply going to be 40 million divided by this number that we got here, which is 0.7. And then this is simply the loss ratio, which is the 0.7, plus the fixed, which is 0.08 over 1 minus the variable underwriting profit. So this simply simplifies to this formula here. If you look at all the cells that are highlighted, and we get the actual number. So minus 1 there, you get a 4.08%. So hopefully this isn't too bad, but it's not the easiest question in the world. I think again the main thing that you need to take away from here, what I got really caught up with, was this. To be honest with you, this to me was the most difficult conceptually, at least. Everything else is pretty much okay. This is what the value is in 2014, 15, and 16. We need to bring it up to what that value is once that policy is actually earned, which is going to be October of 2018. All right. So, excuse me. All right. Good luck. Thank you.